Morning. A bit behind this morning, all over the place. So anything could happen. Still, that's live demos for you, isn't it? Got all these ideas in my head, but whether they all come out or not and what order they come out is another matter. It's so dark here at the moment. So let's have a look. Let's see where we're at. Morning, Judy. Morning, Debbie. How are we all? It's just so dark and so wet today. Right, I'm going to make a bit of noise. Don't know why I did that, because when you do that with the dye, it goes all over the place, doesn't it? Why do I do that? I don't normally. I just pick it out. So, who we got? Mags, Ronnie. Everybody's on Facebook. We've got. Have we got anybody watching on YouTube yet? Let's have a look. YouTube's always a little bit further behind than Facebook. Yes, we do have people on Facebook, so that's lovely to see. Hi, Celia. So today we're obviously going to do some stamping. Oh, here we are. Alison's on YouTube, so's Judy, and so's Di. Yeah, so we are going to be stamping, obviously, and because we've only just released the Fairy Hugs Winter Wonderland collection, I am going to be using some of that. I am going to be using another one of Francoise's texture stamps as well. And we're going to be doing, although it's called Sunday stamping, we are going to be doing a background technique, which I've done before, but not for many years. And I don't actually think I've done it on a live demo because I've not done it for so many years. And the reason I'm doing it is because lovely Bonnie on the Fairy Hugs design team wanted to know how Tanya did her background for her lovely snowflakes when she was on the TV on Friday. So I thought we'd do that, certainly do my version, or the version that I've been taught to do, and it might be different to the way that Tanya does it, but I am hoping that Tanya will do some live demos. I'm trying to encourage her to do some live demos on the Fairy Hugs store Facebook page, which is where you go to share all your makes. Thank you, June, for sharing yours on there, which is absolutely wonderful. And you get all the inspiration from the design team. And remember, the US design team did not send their samples over for the Winter Wonderland collection because it was a bit too tight time-wise, because obviously you have to wait for the delay of time to come over. And so let's just have something in front of me so you've got something to look at. So that's the way to go and see the US team design samples, and it's just a wonderful group to actually join. Morning, Sandra. Morning, Kathleen. Morning, Catherine. Welcome for the first time. That's wonderful. Hi, Christine. So should we crack on and actually do something? I'm going to close my laptop down because I don't need to look at that as well. Get rid of that. That makes me more space. So this sample that you're looking at is one of mine, and it's actually the first one I made with the Winter Wonderland collection. And I was a little bit disappointed because I'd stamped the sentiment here, I'd split it up, and because it's dark blue, it doesn't actually show up very well. So obviously learned from that, I should have put, this part's fine, I should put that bit down there and the other bit at the top, so that would have been absolutely fine. But I do actually quite like the way that it turned out. And we've got Ollie on the top. This is a winter chalet. We've got the rugged pines and the is it called swirling snowflakes? I can never remember the name of that one. Swirling snow, it's called. Swirling snow in the background. And this is a paper from the Frosty Lashes. Hi, Susan. Right, so we're going to move away from stamping and we're going to get the backgrounds done first that we're going to be using, so that they can maybe dry and we can maybe use them or maybe not. So let's start with Francoise's texture palettes. So these are the ones from, I used this one last week. Let's get rid of Berry Store. I used this one last week. You can get everything that you're seeing on my website for shipping to UK addresses, and if anything's out of stock, you just click on the email when available button and you'll be notified. I do know that there's plenty of these in stock, so if during this live demo they go out of stock, click on that email when available button, and after I've finished I'll put them on pre-order for you, because I will be ordering from Creative Expressions, who are the distributor for Woodware. I will be ordering from them tonight. So that being said, if you need any of the new Sue Wilson dies or the new pink ink stamps, if you order them today, then I'll be ordering tonight. So cut-off time is probably 9 p.m. tonight. I'll be ordering tonight and my order will go in this evening, and I'll either get it Tuesday or Wednesday. Obviously, I can't post on Tuesday because they're on strike again. Joy. So we use this one extensively, and there is quite a long video and a short video using that one. So we're not going to use that one this time. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this one, but I am definitely going to use this one to show you how to make a really quick card. Caroline, don't worry about that message. It was my Ginger Ninja. It was absolutely him, and I can't hear him snoring, so I don't think he's in my craft room. I think he's somewhere else. Di, the penguins, I have ordered some, but I'm told that they are probably out of stock. I'm also told that they will be reordered by Fairy Hugs HQ, and their stock should be in a couple of weeks. Obviously, being an American company, I can't just order penguins, because it'll cost me $70 just to bring the penguins in, and that's not product, that's just a shipping charge. So it will be when I put another order together. But having said that, it is more than likely that I'll be ordering again in November anyway. So just click on that email when available button. I'm amazed how quickly they went, because I ordered more penguins than anything else. But anyway, let's crack on. I haven't even got all my card out that I need. That's how unorganised I am. So let's just trim down a little bit card. Where's my trimmer? So this one is called Mini Texture Background. So it has a really good price point on it. Don't ask me what it is. It's around about the £3.40 mark, I believe. So it isn't really expensive. So I just thought we'd make a simple A6 card with this. So I'm going to use watercolour card from Sentimentally Yours. You don't have to, but I'm going to. And I'm just going to make myself an A6 card blank. If I can find a embossing tool. It is. So we're just half A5 on this. We do what Kay calls the hoogie thing, where you turn it over and do it again, then your card is less likely to split. Okay, let's work on this now. Morning Emma, morning Kay. It was funny that Ed caused the problem. Ed caused the mayhem, and that message was for him. Now we need a nice light blue oxide, I think. Do I want oxide? Yes, I do. Let's go oxide. I might regret it, but we're going to go oxide. Because you know I don't like stamping on top of oxides. So I'm going to go into my stamping platform. So did any of you watch Tanya's first show on, well, she did 2 shows on Friday. Tanya's first day on Friday. I think she did really, really well. It was lovely to see that she was so relaxed. Obviously, she was a little bit nervous, but I think she really took to it, and I'm very proud to have put her forward and for her to have done so well. I think Fairy Hugs is in good hands with Tanya. Okay, so we're just going to put this little stamp and we're going to offset it slightly, and we're going to just pop it just there. Thank you, Judy. I think she was great too. So in the new year, as well as Tanya doing some videos on the Fairy Hug store page on Facebook, I'm hoping to do some as well, but it won't be until the new year. I can't take on anything else this year with everything else that's going on. Right, so that's on there. So I'm going for tumbled glass, and I'm going to give it a good old inking. Thanks, Ronnie. She did seem very comfortable and very natural, and her personality came over because she's got a cracking personality, so I think that's rather nice too. So we're just going to give that a little bit of water, give it a quick mist like that. That should be enough, and then we're going to stamp that. So this is going to just be a background that we're going to stamp off. Actually, we're going to go to one side of it. I'm going to, obviously it's wet, so we're just laying down the basis of what we're going to do later. Let's press that bit in the middle. Okay, so it's just a little bit of a grungy background. Yeah, let's just give it a little bit more. A little bit of a grungy background, and you can see you've got the little circles and things that Francoise has put on. It's not perfect, but it doesn't matter. It's just that shape we want. I mean, you could go again. You could probably get another one out of it. I'm not going to, but shall we? Let's do it. Let's just do another one. Let's just see what happens with another one. Because it seems a shame to waste that ink, doesn't it? This will be really light. Yeah, that's really light. I don't like that. I don't like that. So we're not wasting anything. Let's just ink that up again so we've got a second one. So we can mat and layer that. There's no ink there. That's not going to stamp it. There's no ink. This will probably be very runny because obviously there's water on the card and there's also water on the stamp. That's another way you can do it actually. Instead of misting the stamp, you can just mist the card. That's very grungy. I quite like that though. Right, okay. So anyway, that's a by the by. So obviously that will wash off in water because it's an oxide. Just pop that in there. It's not going to do any harm if you don't wash it off straight away. Obviously, if the longer you leave it, the more likely it's going to stain your stamp, but that doesn't really bother me. As long as your stamp's not got ink wedged into its crevices, it's still going to actually stamp really well. Right, so while that's drying, we're going to look at the Courting Crystal. So I have pulled, because we've got the homework boxes which I've drawn. I have pulled these from one of the homework boxes. Don't worry, they will go back. You're not going to miss out on them. But these are a couple of variations of Courting Crystal. So how do we get to these? This is different to this. Obviously, you can see that. But how do we get to this? So what you need is, and I tend to go for heat emboss acetate anyway. and I've got an A5 piece here. And you also need some tissue paper. You know the tissue paper that in days of yore, I mean, some people might still do it, where you wrap something up nicely so that it doesn't get creased when you're going on holiday. It's that sort of tissue paper. You want the kind of thin stuff, but you want it white, okay? And you want it just slightly bigger than the piece that you're going to go down onto. So I'm going to take some PVA, and I'm using the Indigo Blue Grab and Go because it actually, in fact, let's get a piece of paper underneath that so you can see it better, and I can see it better. Okay, so you can't see it at all. You'll see it in a minute. I can see it better. What was I saying? Yeah, Grab and Go, because it's got a wider nozzle, so I'm going to get more out straight away rather than using my Sentimentally Yours glue. So any PVA could do. So you could use Cosmic Shimmer as well, but like I say, this runs really well. So we're going to put a load of glue around the edge, and then some across the middle as well, like that. Now with this one, make sure that you clean your nipple when you actually screw it down, because otherwise you get a dry glue there, and it has all sorts of impacts and it's quite difficult for you to get it out otherwise. Then you want to give it a mist with water. Let's just take it off of here so the card doesn't get wet as well. Give it a mist with water. We'll put it just like that. I know I'm being a bit cack-handed. I just want you to be able to see. There we go. And then you want to use your finger. I'm sorry, you've got to use your finger. It's the best way. Use your finger to spread the glue about. So you're mixing the glue with the water, and you're making sure that the majority of your acetate is covered. You don't really want to go right the way up to the edges, because then if you've got seepage, then it means that your it could go underneath and your acetate's going to stick to the paper or whatever surface that you've got it on. I used to do this loads. I love this technique. But until Tanya did it. See, Tanya used to, like I say, she used to work for Creative Expressions. I think I said this before, as a rep. And so obviously she needed to know all about the Cosmic Shimmer products that she was trying to get shops to buy. She knows all about these techniques, and she teaches workshops and things, so she knows what she's doing. Right, so next we're going to go on to, I'm moving the pad out of the way a bit. Next we're going to go on to our pixie powders. So I've got various different shapes of bottles here because of over the years, and a really good dark blue is Midnight Blue. So all the pots are like this now. So we're going to use Midnight Blue, and the pixie powders have got a dye powder in them and a pigment powder. It's dye, pigment and mica, sorry. So you've got the colour and the intensity. It also bursts, so it's going to hit the wet surface of the glue, and it's going to also hit the water. And as it settles into that surface, it starts to spread out into lots of different colours. Obviously, some colours split into more. Some powders split into more colours than others. This one's just shades of blue. So you need to remember that any area that's white, so any area that you can still see the glue on, is going to dry clear. So you do want to give it a good old scene to with the powder. But we're going to use a few different colours, so don't worry too much. Right, so this one, I haven't opened yet. This one is Pixie Burst. It's called Making Waves. And I have forgotten to take this one off my stock. So if you're the unlucky person that buys this one, then you have to wait until I get my stock in to send you an order out. But there is some stock there. So this is just a dye, this and pigment. This doesn't have mica in it. So if you don't want it shiny, you can add this. So this is it's a deeper blue than the Midnight Blue. So So, and these nozzles actually are the best. So it's been through transformation of different, it was this one first, then it was this one, and now it's this one. And this one is actually the best, because the original one, if you just turned it over, well, you'll see when I use it, it just explodes all over the place. These give a nice fine distribution of the colour. So that's Making Waves, a Pixie Burst. I've also got Aqua Lagoon. This is one of the original pots. So if you're using the old pots, because some of you have still got them, just be careful when you turn it over, and then start to, you can see it's coming out thicker than the others. But obviously I don't want to waste anything. I don't want to throw anything away. So we're getting a really good coverage now. Really good coverage. There's not much white showing now, which is really good. One final one I'm going to pop on there is I'm going to pop some Blue Wish. Ignore the fact that it says a tester. So this is a Pixie Sparkle. So this is more sparkly than the original Pixie powders. It's got Jamie's name on it, Jamie Rogers. So if you want more sparkle, then go for Pixie Sparkles. So basically you've got three. You've got the original Pixie powders, which are still around. You've got your Pixie Burst, which are the ones that don't have the mica. And then you've got your Pixie Sparkles, which have loads and loads of mica in them. So we can stop there. We can absolutely stop there. But if you want more sparkle, well, there's various things you can do actually. You can add gilding flakes. You can add glitter. So we'll add a little bit of glitter. I'll add a little bit of unicorn sparkles actually. I'm just going to add them with my finger, spread it around. And obviously, like I say, because the glue dries clear, I mean, you could add this first if you wanted to, but it's still going to show through. It just gives you extra sparkle. Like so. I've got a gap there, and that gap's bugging me. Let's deal with that gap. That's it. That's dealt with. You can. It's a good idea not to be too heavy-handed, but to give it. I mean, you could add. You can add loads of things. You could even add fine microbeads if you wanted to. So you can see that around the edge, where obviously pixie powders go everywhere, around the edge here of my paper, I've got some colour coming through. And this is just to wake up the powders that are on top. You don't want to go overboard, you only want to do a bit. Then we're going to take our paper, and we're going to... I'm a bit too quiet. Tell your volume up, Christine. Morning, the other Christine. So you're going to scrunch it up, and you're going to open it out. So all we've done is put creases into it, and this is going to give us texture. Now this is an optional thing. You don't have to do that. You could just leave it like that if you wanted to. There's another thing you can do which hasn't set yet, but I will explain to you. So you're just going to lay it on the top, and then just take some kitchen roll and very gently, don't grind it, very, very gently, just dab it down. And then you're bonding the tissue paper to the glue, because remember we've put glue down, and we're also giving texture, and we're also sealing in all the powders. You be careful, because you will get mucky. Like so. That's it. Okay. And then you put this aside to dry. How long does it take to dry? How long is a piece of string? You put it to dry for, I suppose, ideally overnight. It doesn't take that long, but you know, if you've got your heating on and you put it on the floor next to a radiator, it's going to dry quicker than if you don't. But you can see here what's going on at the back. Obviously that's all white, and it's not going to be white when it's actually dry. So let's put this down and I'll show you on the carpet. Obviously you get a bit mucky, but it all comes off. Clean this off properly. Bear with, I don't want to get it over everything. That is the thing though, just bear in mind that pixies go everywhere because they're a powder. You end up with them on your blinds, on your TV. The TV, they glisten, it's quite lovely. But that's just off my mat, look. And my mat look clean. Okie dokie, so let's get some that are dry. So obviously I've shown you these. So this one is been done with exactly the same technique, and I've used Aurora Sparkle Diamond Frost, which is a Cosmic Shimmer Glitter, Sun Yellow, Copper and Spearmint. They're all pixie powders. But you can see with that one we've got lots of splodges. Now that's probably because we're using this kind of tub. Say the others are much better, and maybe I didn't spritz it, but it's still a lovely background to use, and it still has a bit of glitter to use. Great if you want to die cut simple leaves out of, because you can actually die cut this. Bubble wrap, I wouldn't use bubble wrap die because it's going to be too high, it's going to be too thick for when you come to put it on your card, because it's going to get glued to it. So I personally wouldn't use bubble wrap, but I suppose if you're doing mixed media, I don't know. But this, with the tissue paper, you can actually die cut this. Don't try and do anything complicated. You want to do quite simple shapes, and you will need to put a shim in, your metal shim into your machine, and probably pass it through a couple of times. This one has been done with sprays rather than pixie powders. This is very runny and takes longer to dry because you're putting more water onto it. But you do exactly the same thing with the glue, and then you mist. And you do end up with a few gaps, but what you can do is then mist again. And so you can see where I've got all the mica buildup on here, on the back, where you've misted again, because obviously this becomes a little bit transparent, and so you can still see through to the acetate. But they are great backgrounds to do. So those are dry, but the colours that we've just used, I've got some dry here. So this is what I've just used, but I didn't put any glitter in. There's no glitter on that. And there are the odd gap, but that's absolutely fine because it's going to be a background. They work really well if you put die cuts on the top. But we're going to actually put a stencil on the top of this one. Now, I said there's an alternative that you can do. I wouldn't recommend this, really. So what I've done here is, instead of putting the tissue paper on, I've actually put another piece of acetate on, and because it's glue, it's stuck. But we've got a different effect going on. We've got some bubbles going on in there. Obviously same both sides, and it's still wet. And this was done at the same time as the other one. That's because there's no air, so it can't evaporate. What you could do, instead of doing two pieces of acetate while it's wet, you could leave it, obviously not where the cat's going to walk on it, you could leave it all exposed just with the single layer, leave it to dry. It will take longer than this one because obviously the tissue paper absorbs some. So you could put it to one side, let it dry, then put some double-sided adhesive sheet on the back, then peel off the other side of the double-sided adhesive sheet, and then put your second layer of acetate on. So I did this because in Tanya's book, you can see through both sides. Obviously you can't see through that, but you can see a nice finish on both sides. So that's why I had a go at that. I'm not sure how Tanya did it. Hopefully she'll explain when she starts to do some demos as well. So, but it is a great technique to do. So we're going to use this one just to do a background. So don't worry. Did I knock the camera? Yes, I did. Of course I did. Those other two backgrounds will end up in the homework box. Who knows? This might end up in the homework box too. There's going to be a lot of homework boxes over the next few weeks. Okay, Okay, so make sure you're following my Julia Watts Crafts page on Facebook, and then you'll be in the chance to win. Right, so let's just secure this with a bit of tape. If you want to, what you can do, obviously we've got a gap here, so I don't want to having that. So we've got that. But if you want to just keep those little bits, I wouldn't suggest that you'll be able to cut snowflakes on it. But if you've got, say, a border die, you could put a strip of that behind a border die, which is quite nice. Let's just secure that. Now, obviously, you can use, if you want kind of snowflakes, they're generally white, aren't they? Let's get rid of that. They're generally white. So if you've got a nice Cosmic Shimmer Duo Load, if you've got some nice white sparkly paste, you could use those. Also, or silver might be quite nice. I know indigo blue do a nice silver paste. But I thought what we'd do is we'd make our own sparkly paste. So, where have I done with them? Oh, they're here. I'm just thinking where I put my mica powder. So I'm going to use Sentimentally Yours Texture Medium. And we want, where is it? Is it here? Is that it? No, that's silver. I don't want silver. Bear with a second. Told you I was all over the place today. There they are. I'm looking for my Lunar Pearl. Oh, there it is. It's on my desk already. What am I like? My Lunar Pearl Radiant Luster Pigment Powder. So we're going to use some of that. So, because the texture medium dries clear and glossy, and although that's rather nice, if it dries clear and glossy on here, I'm going to benefit from see-through snowflakes, which is nice, but it's not what I want. So I'm going to actually make it matte, because once you add a powder to it, it's going to make it matte. You could do it with alcohol inks as well, Ronnie. You can do alcohol inks in the background there as well. Alcohol inks we tended to use the crystal lacquer with, but yeah, you can use that with it as well. So we're going to make it opaque. So we're going to go for the Lunar Pearl, but we're also going to make it glitter as well. So I'm going to add some of my unicorn sparkles. And sometimes you'll find that the texture medium is a little bit hard to work with, because it can go under your stencil if you overwork it. But if you add powder and glitter to it, you do thicken it up a little bit. So let's get some of this on the mat. Obviously, when you're mixing your own paste, you need to make sure that you've got enough for your project. And my pot's been upside down for some reason. I don't know why my pot's been upside down. So this is the new Fairy Snowflakes stencil from Fairy Hugs. How much we need? Let's go for that. I totally missed ordering the stencils when I ordered them. I don't know how I did it, but I did. So they should be here on Thursday. I'm not going to open them up to pre-order until I'm 100% sure that I'm going to get everything I ordered. As soon as I've got it confirmed, then I'll pop the stock on. So I'm going to give a good amount in there. Don't think, oh, that's loads, that's a waste. It's not a waste. Only if it stays in the pot forever is it a waste. I'm sure I've said that loads of times. So let's give that a mix to begin with. Be careful as you mix it, because it's a powder and you don't want it to poof all over the place. Got a bit of blue in there. Told you, pixie powder gets everywhere. You can, if you've got pixie powders, you can add your pixie powders to your texture paste as well, or any of your pixie burst, or any of those types of powders. If you're adding a paint to a texture medium, just be careful, because paint's runny, so it's going to make it runnier, and then it's more likely to go underneath. We won't actually see the benefit of this until it's dry, so it probably won't be dry during this demo, but obviously I'll share it when it's dry. So So let's add some of this. Let's just tip it on. This is your unicorn sparkles. Okay. Get a big pot of this, 60 ml. And we'll give that a bit of a, and this is going to thicken it up nicely. It's going to glisten. You could put your paste through your stencil and then add your glitter second. So you remove your stencil while the paste is still wet, you add your glitter and sprinkle, and then obviously tap it off. This way it's all encased, and I prefer that. So let's give that a spread now. Sounds a little bit gritty because of the glitter. It'll take longer to dry than it would do if it was on card because it's on acetate. But you could do a job lot. I've mixed far too much. Try not to overwork it. It's just like buttering toast. Oh, not too bad actually. I wouldn't bother kind of trimming it down, you know, trimming all this off until you've actually finished. And again, all you need to do really is pop one of the frame dies around it and a sentiment, and you've got yourself a fab Christmas card. I am overworking it a bit because I want it to be well covered. Look at all that left. That's just rude, isn't it? Okay, let's peel this off. So obviously you could take another stencil and use up the excess. Bins underneath the table. It's not very accessible, is it? Let's just leave that there for a second. And then we'll just lift it off. Hopefully there's no kickback. Nope. Pop that in some water. Obviously you could clean that off. So now we've got our lovely snowflakes on our acetate, and that will dry nice and sparkly. So that's kind of how you did it. I have overworked it, but you saw me overwork it. But it is beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it lovely? So that'll go, when it's dry, that'll go in the homework pot. So whoever got the backgrounds, I think it was Caroline, wasn't it? Whoever got the backgrounds and the die cuts, that'll come to you. Unless I use it. Thank you, Leslie. So yeah, you could do a Leonie on that, and you could get an extra bit, especially with the extra bit that's left over. So just remember to pop it into some water so that it will actually lift off your stencil. Or you can just go, you know, straight with a soft nail brush in the sink straight away. But obviously we're not going to do that. So that's a bit of an aside. It's got nothing to do with stamping, really. But I thought I would just share that with you, and then obviously I can tag our lovely Bonnie in and she can see how it's done. Okay. Right, so that's the background all done and dusted. Let's go back to this background that we've got with Francoise's texture plate. Remember, this is the mini texture plate. Thank you. It's a lovely, actually, doing that technique. Alison and Di are saying it's beautiful. So is Debbie. Thank you. And Christine and Leslie, thank you so much. It is a great technique to do. And, you know, backgrounds are great because if you've lost your mojo, you don't know what to do, you can't be bothered, or you're feeling a bit down. If I'm feeling down, actually, to be honest, I get my fairy hug stamps out. But, you know, backgrounds are just great to have in your stash. I'm only getting rid of mine because I'm moving and I'm not going to have the space. Right, so And sometimes it's nice to start afresh. And also, in fact, when I was putting the box together, Caroline, for you, there's a background in there that I thought, oh, I can do that with some of Phil's new stamps that are coming out. So that inspired me while I was going through that to do something else. So that was kind of a win-win situation, really. Loved that. So this is the new pine clusters from Fairy Hugs, and I thought it might be quite nice to have that just coming off of the side of the texture plate. So let's stamp that just for a very simple, quick Christmas card. And let's go with a dark green. So let's go for Rainforest. So this is Versafine Claire. I do have some of these left. I'm not going to tease you with stamps that I don't have left. Like I say, everything that is, there's two, the ice cubes and the dancing penguins are out of stock. And I have reordered them, but it just depends on how much stock Create and Craft have and what's left. But I am told that there will be more. Because I think you're going to want to buy these. I mean, lots of people make Christmas cards all year round, don't they? So, and the penguins are just so cool, aren't they? But your trees, you're going to be using all year round. Foliage is fantastic. Let's go again. What did I do with it? There it is. So remember, I'm on watercolour card, and watercolour card draws the ink. So quite often you will need to do, or 9 times out of 10 really, you'll need to do a silhouette stamp a couple of times. It's just the nature of the watercolour card. But if you were doing this on one of the Fairy Hugs backgrounds, you would find that you would only need to do it once, sometimes twice, but mostly once, because it's kind of a semi-coated card that you're working on. Yeah, I'm going to go again actually. I want them deeper than that. It could be, you could have it as speckled, like the snow's coming through. It's a different colour on the oxide, which I'm not a fan of that. But I can live with it. That'll do. Right, there's our trees. Let's have pine cluster. There is the rugged pines as well. And then all we're going to do is, I mean, we could, let's see, I say all we're going to do, I might change my mind. It might not be all we're going to do. We could have, I don't think that fits. Let's take one of the polar bears. We can have a little polar bear down here. We are going to do him as a silhouette rather than, in fact we'll do him in grey, that's what we'll do. He's going to go there. And then we're going to, this is the polar bear family, then we're going to get a sentiment. I think we want Winter Wonderland, if I can find it. I didn't have time to get all my stamps out that I was wanting to use. So this says Walking in the Winter Wonderland, so we'll have that off the page up here. Not off the page, off the, what's the name? The texture plate. It is modern, isn't it? I love the way that these texture plates by Francoise will work with anything for any occasion. I think it's just brilliant. And Francoise did say, because obviously she's seen the samples from last weekend. I think it was last weekend, wasn't it? Or the weekend before, because last weekend I wasn't here. But she's seen what I made with the A5 set, and she said that there are more stamps that she's designed to come out next year to complement it. But as I said to her, they work with anything at all. Might have to do the polar bear a second time. Actually, no, I don't need to. I'm going to just leave him like that. So like you say, contemporary Christmas card for anybody. If that's a little bit too long, we can chop a little bit off the top. In fact, I probably will do, and I might chop a little bit off the bottom. But A6 card, nice and flat, easy to do, easy to send. So that's number one. All done. Let's give you some things to look at. So let's have a look at one of Bonnie's. So on this, Bonnie has used the that's Iceland, the fairy. Currently only got one of her left, but I have ordered some more. And she's got the rugged pines either side of her, one of the little polar bears, and that sentiment is the snow one. What's it called? Something in the snow. Oh. You'll find it. It's on my website. Oh, it's called Field of Snow. That's what it's called. I knew it had snow in it. That's really cool. The lovely, lovely Quilo with Paloma sat on his back. He is such an elegant unicorn. Obviously, he's a unicorn rather than a horse, but you could just wipe off the unicorn bit before you actually stamp him. Wipe off the ink from there, and you can actually use him just as a horse. Obviously, Paloma can just sit on her own. You can glitter her wings, which is rather lovely. And she's using the icebergs as stepping stones on that one. So let's actually, yes, something else I was going to show you was, let's trim down another piece of card. I'll give you something else to look at here as well. This one, absolutely beautiful, from Bonnie, that's Era. And she is stood on, again, the icebergs, and we have the snowflake flowers all around her, and also the Woodland Flight, which is from a previous release. It's from the one that came out last month, the 2nd anniversary set. So I'm doing and thinking at the same time, which is a little bit challenging for me at the moment. Here's the Winter Chalet here. This is done on craft card, and we're going to actually use the Winter Chalet now. So let's crack on and let's do that. As I said, you'll find you've got a storm in Seven Oaks. Ah, gosh, wow. You can always watch back, Chrissy. Chrissy's just said that she's had all her internet off, and Ronnie's got thunderstorm. I think they have actually forecast thunderstorms throughout the UK today, I think. Right, so again, we're on watercolour card, and we're going to do something that Adam mentioned when he was on the shows with Tanya. So I thought it might be quite nice to do. So let's take the Winter Chalet, and we're just going to pop it centrally, I think, ish. Make sure it's straightish on there, and we're going to stamp it in an oxide, and I want a darker oxide. So what I'm actually looking for, if I've got it on my I don't want speckled egg. I actually want ice spruce, but we might not go for ice spruce because I have to find it. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick gander. Is it in that one? Bear with. I was tidy. But I'm not now, it's not in that one. Hopefully, when I move, all my organisation will be accessible, which would be rather lovely. Right, we can't find ice spruce. So I think we're going to go with, I've got anything in here that I can use. Faded jeans, let's go for faded jeans. So we're not going to spritz this, we're just going to stamp it. Remember, oxides are going to give you a better impression than distress inks, because they're dye-based inks, water-based dye-based inks, they kind of pull away from the image. So we will need to do it a couple of times because I haven't spritzed it. Yes, Tanya did do well on the shows. Thank you, Chrissy. We used to say, when we used to go on holidays in Wales, we used to say there's rain and there's Welsh rain. Because Welsh rain was already, was always absolutely torrential, wasn't it? But yes, we've had some Welsh rain in England this morning, certainly in Milton Keynes. Just trying to get those trees a little bit better. Okay, that'll do. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Right, so this is going to go in some water. It's not going in the tub with my it's not going in the tub with my texture paste, though. Don't do that. Don't put your stamps in a tub where there's glitter, because then you can't get it off your stamps. So now we're going to do that kind of pulling out technique with the water brush. Might not do all of it, but you want to just, you can just go around the, in fact, let's pull out all of the, this can take ages. It's quite a therapeutic thing to do. You want to kind of clean off your brush every now and again, so that some of the areas don't end up being darker than the others, because obviously you've got ink on your water brush now that you just picked up. So we're looking at a monochrome kind of effect, really. So, and then you can take, perhaps we can move this around a little bit so that it's a little bit more coloured in. And here as well, we can move that ink around. So where the ink hasn't, because remember it's a silhouette area there, and we want that to be look a little bit more filled in and not so gappy. And you don't have to do this straight away, because the ink will stay movable until you've kind of fixed it with some water. So this then becomes oxidized once it mixes with water. So that already looks better, because now it looks like it's all filled in. So on the roof I probably wouldn't do anything. I'd probably pull in a little bit of the colour around the clock to accentuate the clock, like so. And decisions. Perhaps the door on here a bit. So it's got a blue door. tree, I mean, that I've not stamped that very well just there. So we can kind of move a little bit around in the tree. Obviously, you take your time, however you want it to look. But if you don't have many supplies and you don't have pens that you all to colour in, or if you're not even confident at colouring in, just moving the colour around from the ink pad kind of works quite in your favour a bit. I don't often do it, I must admit. But I just thought it would give us kind of a bluey kind of scene. Really, with this Winter Chalet, you could just stamp a sentiment and that would be it. You don't need to do anything else. We are going to do something else, but you don't need to necessarily. I've actually made a bit of a mess there. Let's tidy that up a little bit. That's better. I have to all pull the colour out a little bit around there, but not as dark as it is in the centre. And we'll do these posts here of the fence as well, so they match the other ones. Like so. I think that's all I'm going to do for now. Just a little bit. So just a little bit. You don't need to do anything else on it. So what we can do is we can add a little bit of grounding to it if we want to. So let's grab my blue brushes and my torn paper. And we've got some Stormy Sky. I wouldn't suggest that you do this sort of thing on any of the background papers, because once you put water on the background papers, it doesn't work so well. So this is just normal distress. So because we've got the land going up there a little bit, let's just extend that land just a little bit up there, staying with the blue tone. Like that. Well, it's a bluey greeny colour, isn't it? Has to be because of my dirty piece of card. And over here as well, like so. And then we can add other bits of land underneath. This is dirty snow. Dirty snow. Let's see, let's put another bit up. Yeah, like that, I think. So another bit there. So that's over the top. So now we've got a bit of grounding going on. We can also add ourselves, keeping in the blue tones, we can add ourselves a bit of a sky, or a moon rather. So let's have one of those. Where is the glitter paste through the stencil like you suggested to me, or is that coming up? I've just done it, Tanya. I did it at the beginning of the demo. I'll show you before we finish, because it might be nearly dry then. So you ought to look at all the comments, Tanya. There have been some lovely comments about your performance on the TV. So remember, Tanya is the new demonstrator for Fairy Hugs, and she did a cracking job last week. So let's bring in also, let's clean this up. Can't stand the mess. Okay, Christine, that's fine. early lunch for you, isn't it? 12 o'clock. You can always watch the rest on YouTube because it's more reliable than Facebook. So let's add some other snow. So let's get the swirling snow because the other one is wet. Let's get some of this. We'll have some of this going on in the back. Like so, and that can go over the moon as well because it's allowed. So let's go for another, let's go for a bit of broken china, which will probably come out exactly the same colour because I'm using the same brush. And let's have some of this coming in around here. Remember, we're building this up just from a piece of plain card. I might as well go over there a little bit. Okay. I'll hold that up so you can see it in a sec. To one side. So that's where we're at now. I think we need some trees on there. So let's add some trees. And I'm just reminding myself I've got to show you something else as well before we finish it. Let's get rid of that. That's all right, Tanya, don't worry. Okay, so let's add our trees. I think we want some rugged pines on this one. You could again use the, there we go, there's hitting the camera again. You could of course bring in your pine clusters, they're going to work too. So if you like the simple card I did, you could they will definitely fit, and those are the trees that Tanya used when she did her demo on the 3 PM show on Friday. But we're going to use the rugged pines because I've got them all, so why wouldn't I? So the rugged pines has got a set of 3. So we're going to just add some of those around. So let's think where we want those. Let's have, let's think. I think I might want a big one just there, like so. So we're going to come off the page a bit. Right, let's do it. Thinking about, let's just do them one at a time so that I like to butt right the way into the corner in case things move. Remember, we're on watercolour card, so it's going to need doing a second time. And I'll bring in a smaller one in a minute. I haven't got any masks, so I'm not going to put these trees behind, but we've got that tree behind anyway. So this one's going to come kind of in the foreground here a little bit. And then we'll pop that magnet down there and we'll put another one on there because we can. And that's right into the corner. So remember, I'm doing this in the same sort of tones. So I'm staying with blue tones, but I'm going to go to my Versafine Claire's and I'm going to bring in, I'm going to go for a dark blue. So I'm going to go for medieval blue. In fact, before we stamp that, let's go off at a tangent and show you something else you could do. Let's take this away. There is the Fairy Hugs Magical Hollow die. Wherever it is. Here it is. Here's the Fairy Hugs Magical Hollow. Do have some of these in stock. So look how well that would fit in there. Let's fetch this off here to show you properly because you can't see it when it's in there, can you? I know my stamp's going to be in the right place, so I'm all right there. But look, you could easily put that in the Magical Hollow. And you could either have it that colour. If you wanted to stay in the blue tones, you could cut it out in a dark blue. You could add glitter to the branches or a bit of paste to the branches to make it look snowy. So I think that would look wonderful looking through the hollow to the winter shallow. So that's just an idea. Obviously we're stamping, so we're not going to do that. That's one of the reasons I was late, well, not late, but rushed at the start, because I was cutting one of those out to show. But you know, fairy hugs develop everything so that it all works with previous collections as well. So don't forget about your die. And as soon as you pop a die on this, this becomes mixed media. I know it's scary, but don't be scared. It becomes mixed media because you're using dies and stamps. And it's just so cool. And it's an easy way into mixed media, just by popping a stamp and a die on something. And we do that all the same with all the time with Mr. M's stuff, but we don't realise that we're doing mixed media, but we are. Hope that's straight. If it's not, the wind's blowing. Let's just do it once more because there's I want it nice and dark. I'll remove that magnet's playing up. I'm such a mucky standing. See, we all do it, Tanya. We're all mucky. Right, so then I want to have probably a couple on this side as well. So we're going to just change the orientation again, so I can go butting into the corner, like so. And I'm going to get my acetate, and we'll have a big one at the back and then a smaller one at the front. In fact, let's just drop down to just drop down a size, I think. So do you want that one? Actually, I quite like the big one. Let's have the big one there. Pop it on there. And my acetate's too big. Faff, 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 faff. I want it stood on there, like so. Just going off a bit. And then we pick it up. And we'll stamp that. These magnets have got a mind of their own at the moment. I've got ink pads everywhere. So we're doing Medieval Blue again. Fine, I'm going to leave that one as it is. Obviously, if you wanted to fade into the background, you could do second generation stamping on that. I did that on the demo on Thursday, so you will find on my YouTube channel Thursday's demo is on there as well. So I think we'll go, let's see, let's put one on there and we'll have it coming in front of the chalet. We could do a smaller one down here. Will that work? Let's have a look. No, that looks daft. We're not doing that. So we're just going to have the 3. 3's good. In craft, 3's good. Let's have that there. And you can go back up there, matey. Let's go once more with that one. And it's fine that you've not masked because we're in front of the chalet, and we're seeing bits of the chalet through the branches of the trees. Now it's quite nice to go, be careful because obviously the VersaFine Clay stays wet for quite a while, even on the watercolour card. It's nice to go in with your white gel pen just on the branches and show a bit of snow on that. I think I did a little bit on here. You can just about see it just on the edges there. And you can put a little bit of snow down here as well, so you can do all that sort of stuff. Oh, here's me on my chair. Right, so that's our rugged pine. So I think we want a sentiment on here as well. So let's have our sentiment down the bottom. But you remember, I made a bit of a mess of it last time because it was so dark. But because this is a lighter ground, I think we can do our sentiment in 2 pieces down here. So let's have a go at that. So we want the smallest things. Or we could do the, let's do the snow one actually. Let's do the fields of snow. The future lies before you like a field of snow. Be careful how you treat it, for every step will show. So it's a little bit fiddly to do this technique, but it is quite good. So we're going to have it in 2 pieces. So we want down to the comma where like a field of snow on this side, and then we're going to have the be careful bit on this side. Just about fits. Or we could have the future lies above, and we can have the other bit down here. Should we do that? Let's have top and bottom, because then that fills up the gap at the top as well. Let's do that. So let's get this straightish. All the fairy hug sentiments are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So it's a little bit tricky. So we're going to stay with the dark blue colours. And what we want to do is, I find it easier to ink up first and then mask off the areas I'm not going to do. So again, we're with medieval blue, which is a dark blue. And we want to ink up to about there. And then what I do is I take some of my low tack tape, and I'm sorry I'm knocking the camera, and I'm just going to pop it on the letters that we don't want to see. Now there's a little bit there of that other bit at the top that I need to grab. Let's just, rather than waste this, let's just tear a bit off there, because you've got that high F like that, and then we stamp that and hope that that's going to be dark enough so we don't have to faff around again. That'll do, I reckon. Let's see if we can get that lies a bit darker. Future lies before you. Oh, oh. Like a field of snow. So obviously you can't use that bit again, really. Just take your time with it. And now where do we want the other bit? So we've got that bit up there. Let's have it here, like that. And then pick that up. So now obviously it's on the acetate, so it's protected the area there. So obviously when we do this, we're going to ink up the bottom rather than the top, and but we'll need to mask off the whole of the area because it's had ink on it recently. Unless of course you clean it, but it's safer just to mask it all off. So we want, I am on blue, aren't I? Yeah, because I've got all the ink pads on my desk. So mask off the top. And we need another tiny little bit just there. And we don't want the comma either. So we've got a bit on there as well. Okay, there we go. I'll show you that. So it's very easy to do, but it's thank you, Pam, don't worry, you can catch up, as you say, catch up later. So very easy to do, but it kind of means that you can get a bigger sentiment in smaller spaces. So I think I'm going to call it a day for today, if that's okay. I was rather exhausted last Thursday when I did the demo later on in the day. I know we're earlier in the day now. Oh, sorry about knocking the camera. What am I like today? So I'll grab that background just to show Tanya and you again. It's not dry, obviously. So this is the Caught in Crystal, and we've got the Sentiment of Yours texture medium mixed with some Lunar Pearl, what's it called, Radiant Pigment Luster Powder, Lunar Pearl. So I've mixed some of that to make it opaque but nice and shiny, and I've mixed some of the Indigo Blue Unicorn Sparkles into it as well, so it's going to be nice and glittery when it dries as well. And that's on for the Pixie powders. I actually used the Making Waves Pixie Burst from Cosmic Shimmer, in stock on my website. We also used the Blue Wish Pixie Sparkles and Aqua Lagoon Pixie Powder, different tub now, and also the Midnight Blue Pixie Powder, different tub now. And also I used the Grab and Go glue from Indigo Blue to lay down first of all. But that's I did that at the beginning. So we've done that, and then we've done a very, very simple Christmas card here with the mini texture plate from Francoise Reed, and the pine cluster, the mini polar bear, and the walking in Winter Wonderland sentiment from Berry Hugs. And I've just shown you how to do a scene here using the Winter Chalet just on a piece of watercolour card with blue tones with the Faded Jeans Distress Oxide. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a little bit shorter than my normal demos are for you, but hopefully still you've got a little bit of inspiration. Don't forget that if you're a Fairy Hugs fan, you can go and join the Fairy Hugs Store Facebook group and share your makes on there. We really, really love to see your makes. And the design team all put their makes on there as well. And if you're needing any of the products that we've used today, you can find them on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk. Then if anything's out of stock, just click on the email when available button, and you can always watch everything on my YouTube channel. It is there forever, so you can sit and craft along and pause whenever you want to. I'm not sure, there won't be a Facebook or a YouTube live next Sunday as I'm not around, but I will, if I get time, I'll try and do a video that I can post next weekend for you anyway. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.